Listen, for me, I thought Chelsea started really, really well. And you look at how Tuchel lined up, and the inclusion of Timo Werner came as a little bit of a surprise to me, at least. And how Chelsea were able to craft a couple of opportunities early on is, despite the City press, that long ball was always on with the pace of Werner, and we've spoken about the running of Romelu Lukaku. But from the time City adjusted to that, from the time they started pressing higher up and not allowing Chelsea that long ball out, all of a sudden you saw Chelsea be the ones to struggle with ideas. How do you get that ball into the front two? How can we get any kind of support from midfield? And they kept coming up black. And in the end, City were allowed to play their game, and Chelsea were the ones who were looking around for ideas in how to cope and not being able to find any. They bring on Havertz later on. But at this point, City have already kind of dominated and taken control of the entire game. So credit to Pep Guardiola, credit to City for how they were able to adjust to the surprise, I'm going to assume it's a surprise from Chelsea tactically, and then just totally dominate. Because two very good teams, and in the end, only one really looked like they were ever going to win it.
Is it as simple as tactics as to why Chelsea looked so timid today, Jules?
I just thought he got it wrong, and we've never said that Thomas Tuchel got his tactics wrong since he arrived at the club, but this time he did. This is the team that, well, the formation certainly, that played the second half against Spurs last weekend, and that was the right call at the time because of the way that game was going. They didn't win the second ball. It was a big battle. It was very aggressive, very physical. Today was a very different game. I don't understand why Thomas Tuchel thought it was a good idea to go with Kovacic and Jorginho and Kante in that midfield, because the way they beat City last season in those three games was because the two number 10s that played behind the striker last season, which not Lukaku, but the strikers, that's who caused a lot of problem to City, because they played between the lines, because when you played from the back, they always offered an option, always offered a solution. Today, with just Werner and Lukaku, you had none of that, and that's why City pressed them so well and prevented them from playing from the back like they usually did. There was never any option apart from playing long, and that was unsuccessful for a large part of the game, and that's why Chelsea struggled so much. And I'm glad Tuchel recognized his mistake after the game, but it's just not the kind of mistake that I expected him to do in a game like this.
City still need a centre forward, Don?
It's going to be a talking point every week, isn't it? When they win, they don't need one. When they come up shy, we're going to say they need a number 9. I think, in all honesty, I think if they do want to win everything, Champions League, Premier League, I think they do need a number 9. But what it showed today was it showed how good Man City are, and the individuals. Phil Foden first came back, Kevin De Bruyne first came back. They got a good 80 minutes into their bank. So it just shows you, with the way Guardiola coaches his team and improves the players in whatever positions they want to play in, they can go the distance. And if they can beat a team like Chelsea today, who I thought respected them too much, it's the first time I've seen a Chelsea side that respected Man City a little bit too much. I wouldn't say they were afraid of them, but in the 3 previous wins that Thomas Tuchel's had, I thought he was on the front foot. I thought he was aggressive. Today, I thought they were a little bit timid. To answer your question, I still think they need one, though.
I tell you what, Jules, something you appreciate, I suppose, after that time out because of the pandemic and because of no fans, you saw that atmosphere today and it looked awesome.
It was incredible, and I have to say and give credit to the Man City fans, because the 3,000 that travelled from wherever they live were just incredible. And I think for Chelsea fans, I think very early they realised that this was going to be really tough, and this was going to be an off day at the office. And I think they were right, because the Chelsea fans were maybe not as vocal as they usually are, especially on those big games, because I think they saw very quickly that this City team was going to be so good and so solid and so hard to beat. And on the other hand, I think the same was said about the City fans, but on the other hand, I think they could tell very early on that their team was on for something quite special, and they could easily have won 3-0 that game, okay, maybe 3-1, but Chelsea had no shot on target for the first time since Thomas Tuchel took over last January. 0 shot on target, and at Stamford Bridge we're talking, and it's not just the tactics that went wrong, it's the way City played and actually made Chelsea not play the usual game that led to that stat.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.